Hey, it's Dan and Charlie here, and we just want to welcome you to Fearless TV.
We've got another great show in store for you today. Our fearless youth and young adult leaders and pastors are joining us again. We've got more powerful stories of people overcoming their fears, and we've also got something brand new for you called Awkward. I don't want to ruin it, but I think it's going to be a little bit awkward for a few peeps. You don't want to miss it.
We're going to pick up the conversation where we left off last week, but before we do that, let's check out some of the highlights from last week's show.
If your identity is placed that I know who I am, that God made me, you can kind of risk it. You can reach out there and say, is there someone I could be in a relationship with?
Well, we're mixing it up a little bit this week, something a little bit different for you. We've got the girls on one side and the guys on the other side. And we're going to continue our conversation on basics.
That's right, and we've also got Rachel Gardner with us today from the Romance Academy. So, Rachel, just for the guys who've tuned in this week who missed last week, tell us a little bit about what the Romance Academy was all about.
Well, it was a programme on BBC Two a few years ago, and we found 6 guys, 6 girls that were willing to take that experimental step and say, is it possible to live kind of without any sex for 5 months in today's culture? And what we found was actually what they began to explore was healthy relationships where you put someone else first. So kind of that's my background, and that's why I'm here to talk to you today.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for jumping on the show. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what a healthy relationship looks like. What this is about is all of us just having a little bit of a chat, sharing some wisdom, and, you know, this is hopefully going to be an environment where you can just be yourself, and maybe we're going to learn some stuff from each other. So, Rachel, let me just jump straight in with you. So I know you did the Romance Academy, and so for a period of time, some people had to abstain from sex. Did they find it easy? Was it hard?
No, really difficult. And I think for some of them, they found it difficult being able to actually publicly say, I'm not going to be having sex at the moment, because, like, it's one thing to make a decision for yourself. Right. It's another thing to kind of live that out and say, my values are different. And for these young people, they've not grown up with these values. They just thought, well, when I find somebody, I'll just have sex with them. That's kind of just what you do. And we were challenging them to say, well, actually, relationships are so important, and they are so complicated, and, like, you bring the mess of your emotions into that. So just hold off on the sex. Just get to know each other. But then that creates, like, I'd love your wisdom on this, because that creates that open space of, like, what's the line between a friendship and when you start dating somebody? And because I think that is really complicated to know when it becomes exclusive. So I don't know, Dan, if we could ask that kind of question, like, for a guy, what does that mean that actually you want to be with a girl? How do you make it clear to her that you actually want to be more than just friends? Because we don't know sometimes.
Amazing. Boys, who's got an answer for that one? Eric.
I feel like...
Wait, Eric, how old are you, mate?
I'm 16.
16, where are you from?
I'm from Kennington.
From Kennington, nice, mate, go ahead.
Nice. So I feel like girls, they have a very good perception of friends and not friend, and, like, potential bae. And there's this grey area with you guys, but for us, it's just black and white. So how do we know when it's one or the other? Because I feel like there's always an in-between. There's always, oh, why can't we just be friends? And they never understand. As in, like, they never understand.
Or the worst one is that, oh, I like you like a brother.
Yeah, exactly, and that really hurts. That hurts for a guy to hear. And I think we've all had it once upon a time, and I feel like for that, I just want to know from you guys, what's the line?
OK, sisters, what's the answer? What are we going to say? What's the line?
If you're asking us the same questions we're asking you, someone needs to bite the bullet and just ask the person they like.
Yeah. And girls actually like an intentional man. So, like, we don't want to be left wondering. And even if she didn't like you, we like an intentional man that would say, hey, do you like me? And we get to go, oh, no, actually, I just like you as a friend. Because actually, that's easier. I know it's cutting you deep right now. But actually, that's easier. Be an intentional guy.
So, Charlotte, you are dating Angelo right here.
Yes, that's right.
Tell me, did you know that he liked you?
Yeah, I knew that he liked me. We met when we were 14, and he did show an interest, and I showed absolutely no interest.
You liked Charlotte for 5 years?
5 years.
Wow.
That is persistence, wow.
And then eventually he blossomed.
OK, so you knew she didn't like you?
Yeah.
And then how did you know she did like you?
she started texting back.
Keep it, mate. Okay. Kisses at the end, emojis at the end?
Yeah, kisses and emojis. And that's when I knew, okay, I can ask her out now.
I guess it's all coming down to communication, and maybe communication is the hardest thing these days, because a lot of it's through text. Like, when me and Charlie first started dating, I stalked her MySpace page, which is what we had back in the day.
Old, isn't it?
And we spoke to each other on MSN, you know. I know, Eric, you probably have no idea what MSN is, but it was cool. But, you know, times are changing, and it's very easy to communicate, but maybe communicate in a way which isn't authentic. You know, do we feel like we fear having face-to-face conversations now because of the technology side of it?
Definitely. I think the hardest thing in the world is to actually say what you think and to wait for someone to respond. And I think one of the things that I want to say kind of for the girls as well is that, guys, I'm going to speak for myself, but I don't judge you if you ask a girl out a few times and she says no, if you do it in the most considerate, kind, compassionate way. And I think, girls, we need to be quite clear at saying to the guys, we're not waiting for you to fail. We're not expecting you to be a knight in shining armour. We just want you to be you and to be clear. And we're going to try and do the same, because I think that we can be quite confused with kind of the messages that we send. Like, let's not be afraid to kind of say, yeah, he has asked a few other girls out, but look at the way he did it. He did it so respectfully, and he still treated her respectfully afterwards. I'm still interested in a guy like that. And I think maybe we just need to slightly kind of recognise that we're human beings. This is messy, you know? We're not going to get it right. Let's not hold our past crimes against each other. Let's say the character of that person now, he's a man, she's a woman. I mean, I'm not interested in a boy. I mean, yeah, and I think that's really important, isn't it?
I think we're just getting going here, and there's some exciting stuff I'm looking forward to get into. We're going to go to a little video right now. This moment is called Awkward, and it's all about us going out into the streets of London to have some awkward moments to help people overcome the fear of man. Take a look.
Hello, it's me. It's Joey.
It's Benito.
And this is Awkward. Awkward is all about going into the world and facing the fear of mankind.
That's right, Joey. We are in central London, and there's something about this place that just makes me want to sing, Joey. I want to feel it in my soul.
Oh, my gosh. That actually reminds me of two people that we know. Let's get Jacob Maureen, our contestants today.
Oh, yes, Jake.
Amazing, Jacob.
Maureen, how you doing?
How you doing, bro? Are you good?
Hey,
so you guys just got engaged.
Just got engaged.
We did.
Okay, how long have you guys been together?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
And the 2.5 years.
Oh, wow.
It's not 2.5 years.
Not 2.5 years? That's
he
awkward.
doesn't even know.
That is awkward.
All right.
Like
well,
1.5.
today, like Benito said, all we want to do is sing, and that's the name of the challenge. All I want to do is sing.
But the winner of this challenge gets to win an exclusive.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Look at, oh, come on.
That's incredible.
Enough of that,
All right, enough of that.
Let's get on with the challenge, Joey.
Are you guys ready?
Are you ready?
Hey, Maureen, remember, fear is a lie. All right, see you later.
Let's go, check this out. It's about to happen.
And you're about to do the challenge. The challenge is you've got to busk to the most amazing worship song, your favourite, you know.
Lead people into worship today.
Great. Hey, good afternoon, Leicester Square. I only wanna sing if I sing with everything. If I sing for you, my king. Whoa. Okay, let's mix it up. I don't think you're feeling that at the moment. Let's try a bit of worship. Christ alone. He is Lord, Lord of all. Can I invite Maureen up to the stage?
Okay, Spirit, Spirit lead me. Justice without bars. Let me walk upon the waters. Wherever you call me.
Real love, something.
This is real love. This is real love. Hey, hey, oh, oh, oh. This is real love. Come on, everybody jump. Woo. Thanks.
Wow, that was amazing, Joey.
Wow, they really did only want to sing. Wow.
Well, here we have Luke here. So, Luke,
How you doing, all right?
from a score from 1 to 10, who would you say won, Jake or Maureen?
Okay, so Jake had a lot of character.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really connected with the crowd, which I was impressed with.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing.
I'm going to give him a 7 for that.
Oh, a 7.
7 is good.
Maureen was very nervous,
Yes.
but she showed a lot of charm and
charming.
cheekiness. But unfortunately, the vocals weren't great, so I'm going to have to go for a 5.
Come on in, guys.
Come on in, guys.
Sorry, guys.
Come on in, come on in, come on in.
But you know, I'm very proud of you both. It's great. It's
Well
good
done.
to get up here and do it.
Luke, you've been amazing. Jake, well done. You get the Harvard t-shirt.
you.
And
Come
you
on.
really did prove
give
that
it to
you
you, babe.
can face the fear
Of mankind.
That's amazing.
Amazing. That's all from us, guys. See you later.
Bye.
How funny was that? You know, so many of our fears we face actually do come down to fear of man, what people think and say about us. We want to get back to our conversation on basics. Celeste, you had a great question. Why don't you ask that?
Okay, so I would like to know, like, what is the best way to handle rejection if you've told someone that you like them and they don't really like you the same way?
Brilliant question. Okay, so you're feeling bruised, you're feeling wounded, you're feeling hurt. If you had a broken leg, would you keep running on it? No, you give it time to heal. So the first thing you do is you give yourself time to heal. And you watch out for all those behaviours that you might go to quite quickly to make yourself feel quickly better. It could be spending money, it could be going and getting a quick fix with someone who's a stranger liking you, it could be asking someone else out and just repeating the rejection. What you need to do is find the people in your life who genuinely are your friends. And they're going to sit with you and say, it's okay, you're going to get over this, it's going to be okay, and you pick yourself up and move on. And that's what I think you need to do, because you want to be healthy, don't you, for relationships. Rejection isn't the end of the world. But actually what it can do is keep you in that place where you keep going in for rejection, rather than pulling back, saying, I'm going to heal, and then we'll do this again another time.
Yeah.
Very good.
I love that. I loved how you said about going to your friends, you know, and that sort of thing. And that's why I think it's so key about having good friends in your life. And I know, Joey, you were asking earlier about friends.
So, so when it comes to finding your potential boyfriends, how important is it their social group, their group of friends?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I heard someone once say that, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And I think even with a boyfriend, that's really key. You need to be careful with who he is hanging out with and the influence that he's got on his life as well, because that will then influence you and your relationship. So,
love that.
Very cool. I know for me, when I was looking to start dating, I was 21 at the time. I'd sort of been a Christian for about 3 years, and I just decided to keep these 3 C's really important when I was looking for a bae, and they were character, chemistry, and calling. And these 3 things were I was actually looking for, and when I met Charlie, I felt like she ticked these 3 boxes. Like, her character, she had, like, integrity and honesty, and I could just see that she was compassionate and generous and loving, and so that drew me, like, to her, because she had that character. Chemistry there, and chemistry is different to lust. You know, lust is just something that can, come and go, but I think chemistry is where you've actually got an attraction, and it's much more than looks. And so there was definitely chemistry there. We could tell from our first conversation. And then calling. And I remember when I was in Bible college, I dated this girl. And then after being together for about, 3 months, we'd like telling each other we love you, like just happened so quick. And then we sat down and we're talking about our futures. And she's like, what are you doing in future? I was like, I definitely want to go back to London. I just feel, called to England and stuff. And she's like, well, I'm going to America because I want to do my music stuff. I'm like, this ain't going to work then. She knew where she wanted to go, I knew where I wanted to go, and so we ended up breaking up. The awkward thing is that she was a songwriter and she wrote an EP. And she said, hey, Dan, I've written about our breakup, but it's okay, I haven't told, no one will know it's about you. I'm like, all right. She says, will you come to the EP launch, just to kind of support? I'm like, yeah, okay. I went there, I was standing at the back, and the song goes, why'd you go and start this dream if you were gonna leave in the first place? Everybody in the room just turned and looked at me. And I just learned the real hard way not to rush into a relationship without thinking about where your futures are heading. And I think, just as you said, show me your friends and it'll show you your future. Having friendships, you can actually have those conversations before you actually get into a relationship, which I think is so important. I know, Watson, you were chatting a little bit about what you think a healthy relationship is.
I was going to ask the girls that question. What do you think a healthy relationship is, and what does that look like to you?
I'm going to jump in because I think I've probably been in a relationship the longest. So I've been married 15 years.
Nice.
And And it's totally trust, it's totally respect, it's totally love, it's all that stuff. But it's also these things like kindness, like empathy, learning each other's love languages. Like the times that my husband and I like disagree and fight is because actually we're misreading each other. And I just want him to spend time with me and he just wants me to make him a cup of tea or something. And I just think we've learned over the years kind of that for us, a healthy relationship looks like X, Y, and Z. It has all those building blocks that we know are for every relationship, but we've also learned each other's inside tracks. Like we've read the scripts of each other's lives and we really care about them, putting them first. So I think go for the big stuff, but also look for somebody who's going to be kind with your heart, who's going to get excited about your dreams, who's going to say, I'm going to lay down my dreams if actually it means you're going to pursue yours. And if you're both doing that, like you guys, you know, look what happens with that. So
I've only been married 8 years, so not as long
Still
as...
very good.
really good though.
Still all right. Still going. And I think one of the keys for us, and me and my wife Jo, is like as you communicate with each other, you can tell each other where you're at, what you're thinking, because I'm not a mind reader, so let me know so that I can become a better husband, I can become a better partner.
I bet you've learnt the I statement, haven't you? Like, that this makes me feel, rather than you always do this, it's actually owning that. And I think one thing in relationships is about owning your emotions, not expecting the other person to mind read, and not expecting the other person to be the source of everything that you need. Like, when you stick your partner on a pedestal and say, everything I need comes from them, then the relationship's in trouble, isn't it? But open communication that says, before God, actually, you are great. You've got God's given me in my life. But I also know that you're not going to be the person that gives me everything that I need. So I just love that. Thank you.
With trust and everything, I wanted to know, is it true that all men have a wandering eye?
Ooh. Who's going to take that?
I'll take that. How do you answer that? Well, the wondering eye, I believe that as men, we admire beautiful things, and God made the female in a beautiful way, and it's true. Our eyes can wander. The things in this world can make our eyes wander. But on a serious note, what I do think is the key and the most important thing is to have bouncing eyes rather than wandering eyes. Bouncing eyes is you take the first glance, and then you have a choice whether to carry on and look or to turn away and to move on. It's the secondary look which has the most effect and the biggest consequence. The first look you can move on from. The second look is what creates the problems in which can lead on from. So I've learned the hard way is to have bouncing eyes, to take the first look, admire, glance, whatever else, but then to move on and walk on.
Yeah, because sometimes people are like, oh yeah, when I'm married, then I'll stop looking at other girls. But actually, if you can't do it before you're married, you'll never be able to do it when you're married. So it's like wherever stage you are right now, it's actually learning to do that. The tricky thing is like now it's actually harder to do this than ever before because there's so much visual stuff on our phones. Like, you know, whether it's social media or whether it's through, you know, Snapchat, and sexting is like a massive thing today. Rachel, I know obviously you've worked with a lot of people, you know, with the issue of sex, but also the issue of porn. Do you think it's harder today than it has been in the past?
Yeah, it's free, it's accessible, it's there, click of a button. And if you're feeling insecure, if you're feeling like you want to have sex, you're curious, then, you know, looking on porn feels like you're kind of opening yourself up to this brilliant world of intimacy, but it's a lie, isn't it? It's a total lie. And you were saying this brilliant thing about what devours your mind. Like, you can actually, you have more choices than you think you have. And I think culture would say to you, actually, it's a done deal, just watch porn, everyone's watching it. But actually, you want to be people that say, I'm not going to eat a dirty burger off the floor. I'm going to say to myself, what's in it, who's made it, and is it good for me? So it's the same with what you look at. What's in it, who made it, and is it good for me? And when you think about that with porn, who's in it? Do they want to be there? Who made it? Who's getting the money? And is it good for me? And actually, if I realise that actually porn is going to damage my ability to have intimate, healthy, happy sex lives in the future, I don't want any of that poisoning my heart and my soul now. So if you are young, you know, guys and girls that say, I'm going to make the choices really positive for my life, then wow, you're going to change things for yourselves, aren't you?
Amazing. I love that you touched on that word intimacy. Because we don't really know that word very well. Like, we talk about, like, sex, we talk about love, but that word intimacy, maybe, I don't know whether it sounds quite old school, but, like, what would you say, like, a healthy, intimate relationship would look like?
A healthy, intimate relationship is where two people can look each other in the eye and know that the other person is completely happy with what's happening. And you know in a relationship when one person is feeling awkward, unsure, this is too much, if you're looking them in the eye. Because the moment you take your face off their eyes and it's about what you want, it becomes lustful. You forget that person is a person and you start treating them as an object. And I love what you said about communication. Actually, in the heat of a moment, if you're with someone that you're attracted to, you're going to want to go all the way with them, aren't you? Because actually that's how God designed this. It's so beautiful. So a conversation beforehand that says, actually, our values are we're going to draw the line at a certain point. We are both going to stick to that. Let's have a conversation now about how we're going to do that. We've talked about rejection, Dan, but for Christian young people that are saying we don't want to have sex until we're with the person we're with for life, actually saying no more can feel like a rejection, because it feels like, don't you want me? Whereas actually we're saying, no, our relationship is more than just about the two of us. It's about our love for God as well. And as difficult as this is, we're going to keep talking about where this line is. We're going to involve our friends to help us be accountable. And we're going to grow in love. Amazing, I love it.
Rachel, what would you say, though, if out of the couple, one of them thinks this is okay and one of them doesn't, and, you know, they both still want to stay together, but they're just not agreeing on the boundaries, like you were saying?
Absolutely. I think that's going to be too difficult for just the couple to deal with on their own. They've got to have other people speaking into their relationship, because actually that could be the critical thing that could really damage somebody. And that relationship is not going to thrive if you've got mixed expectations, isn't it? And it could be mixed expectations about anything, like about, you know, a date, about the amount of eye contact the person you're with gives you. Like, some of you guys give great eye contact, others you're like, whoa, what's going on? So actually there's loads of ways that expectations are going to be different in a relationship. So have other people around you that you can trust, that aren't going to spread like gossip about your relationship, but will help you have a really open, honest, authentic relationship where you can talk about this stuff. I'm married to Jason, and I know that he won't cheat on me. Well, I don't actually know that he won't cheat on me, but before we were married, we had said that we really love sex so much and we really value it so highly. We don't want to be having sex until we're married. And it was difficult. It wasn't easy. We really, really liked each other. And there were times where, actually, good on him, he was the guy that got himself, you know, out of the room and walked away from me. And he ran from me. And because of that, that does tell me that even though he's going to meet the most beautiful women in his life, some women who'll maybe inspire him more than I do on those days that I'm being a naggy so-and-so, I know that he is a guy that knows how to run. He knows how to flee the stuff that would damage him. And I think that's it, isn't it? We're looking for somebody else in our life who's got that character and knows how to run. And sometimes we learn that through our mistakes. And like Paul in the New Testament, he's not writing about sex to a bunch of people that have grown up in Christian families and who are virgins. He's writing his stuff like flee sexual immorality. He's writing it to people who've been there, done that, and they've got the wounds. And he's saying to them, you still have the chance to flee this stuff. You still have the chance to start again. You know, you're not spoiled goods. There's nothing here that God can't restore and redeem. So I think look for the person, whatever their life experience, they have learnt how to run from the stuff that's going to damage them and you.
Rachel, I love what you were just saying there about Paul writing to people that have been there and done that, literally like us guys here. You know, he's writing to similar people that have been through situations that the generation that we're in today are going through as well. What would you say about maybe a viewer that's watching or someone here that has been through and done that? They've done things that they potentially regret. How would you say they move forward with their life from there?
Well, I would say if there's a big fire in the middle of the room, you would know not to touch it because your brain says don't touch it. You'd also know not to touch it if you have touched it and been hurt. So actually sometimes regret is a thing that actually teaches us the biggest lesson. So I think the first thing is, rather than take you to a place of shame that says, I did that, I'm bad, I'm terrible, I'm unforgivable, say, no, that's not true. The truth is that I'm free from that. But the truth also is that I have a living memory of what hurts me. So I'm now going to do this differently. And sometimes it's our regrets that teach us that, isn't it? So allow your regret to shape your life in a different direction. It can become maybe your greatest story and your greatest strength. I've been there, I've been hurt. So let me show you where to stand back so you don't get hurt. And you guys are leaders. That's what the difference is, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. What about you, lads? Anyone got any comments or thoughts on that?
Actually, I kind of think for people today, they kind of think, right, I'm not going to do this ever again. And then a day later, they're like, there I am back at it, and all kind of carrying on. But it's a thing of actually getting the markers in your life saying, all right, so today, this is going to happen. And even if then it happens again, just say, right, okay, this next day, this is not going to happen. Just take one day at a time, because then it's actually manageable, rather than thinking, right, this is never going to happen, and then if you do stuff up, you hate yourself. Or whether it is, say, someone's got a porn addiction or something, it's like, okay, well, for this next hour, or for this next 2 hours, which I'm going to struggle at, I'm not going to do it, and putting a stake in there and saying, for this next bit, I can make it, and then the next little bit, I can make it. And I think if we just encourage people through that, then make it bite-sized chunks to eat.
And I just think it's so important. I love what you were saying, you know, we serve a God that's a forgiving God. And so therefore we need to forgive ourselves. You know, and we need to remember that and hold tight to that.
Just want to thank you, Rachel, for being on the show with us today. I just want to thank the Fearless Entourage for being on the show. Give yourself a round of applause. Hey, so if you're watching this, you've got any questions or you want to see what's happening backstage, why don't you follow us on social media? Here's how.
For bonus footage, bloopers, and behind-the-scenes content, check out our YouTube page, Fearless TV UK. Check out our social media channels at Fearless TV UK. Hashtag the Fearless Generation.
That's all we've got time for this week. Thanks for watching.
But let's finish it off with a dance-off. Zion, jump in here, mate. I think we should do boys versus girls. Let's do this. Come on, mate. Show us out.